cameras, so that's fine. All cabling, yes. Cabling from node points to cameras shall be via category 6A cabling, so we just need to make sure we've got a node for the category 6A, which I believe we did, so there it is. Network video recorder, so that's fine. Provide dedicated LCD color, high resolution, 1080p, 24-inch type viewing monitor, so 1. So we're going to go and add in, although it's got a Milestone X-Protect Smart Wall, it does contradict itself. So we're going to take this scope of works here as, I guess, as taking precedence. So we're going to include a 24-inch CCTV monitor. We're going to get rid of that. And it's all pretty generic stuff. CCTV housing 45RU communications rack. We mentioned that before. We're going to exclude that, so I don't need to worry about that. A lot of this stuff is very generic and has come from other specifications. So we'll have shop drawings, that's fine. All warranties, as-built, testing, commissioning, that's all normal and typical of all our installations. So, Milestone X-Protect Corporate, so we made a note of that here. So Milestone X-Protect Corporate software and licenses. Viewing X-Protect Smart Wall, so that's just a part of this package, so that's going to go in using on our 24-inch monitor, so that's fine, we don't have to make a note of that. This is all part of that same product, so this Milestone X-Protect Corporate, so all of this will come as part of this. And making sure that we've got all the device licenses as well as the main license. Next page, cameras, so tier 1, we can choose any of these manufacturers. So Samsung is now owned by a company called Hanwha, which is what we're going to use here. So here's Hanwha, and together it's a Hanwha Milestone CCTV recording monitoring system. Because it's Milestone, we'll go with the CCTV server, so it's just going to be a small server that we did note NVR on the takeoff, but that's fine. It's just showing us that there is some requirement, and 1080p is the minimum resolution. So we've got Hanwha 1080p IP CCTV cameras, internal, external cameras to be mounted fit for purpose. So that's just saying we're going to use internal cameras, external cameras, and the right mounting bases where required. Recording, so they want 60 days minimum. So we'll just have to update that. Just increases the hard disk drive capacity. So now that we've got this, we can take the highlight off and switch it back to black. PoE network switches, so we will need network switches because it's going into a server. So most NVRs have PoE ports, so power over Ethernet ports on them up to a certain size. The servers don't, so we will need PoE switches. So what I'll do is I'll actually go back to our plan, and where I've got the NVR, I'm also going to put an 8-port PoE switch. So we've got 6 cameras, so we just need to make sure we've got enough ports for the cameras. So 6 cameras, 8 ports is our next highest up. So if we had 10, then we would go to the 16 port. If we had 20, we'd go to the 24 port, and so on. We've already covered the hardwire at 1080p camera, so we can take the highlight off that one and just quickly do another check. So it's saying Dell service to be Dell or HP Pro Lion. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back here, say Dell CCTV server, and switches to be Cisco PoE. So let's make a note of that. We can see quite quickly how we just piece together this information. Controlled access is integrity or approved equal. Now, that's stating that we have some form of integration between the access control and the CCTV system. So I do have a note over here. So no allowance to be made for high-level integration between the access control system and the CCTV system and or the intercom system. So we can make a note here. So integration with access control actually that. So Cat 6A we've already covered, so you can see that we've already covered the Cat 6A, so we're going to get rid of that and we can put that into black. And some staff training, so we'll just make sure that we've got that noted so that we make an allowance for some staff training, just covering the labour, that's all it is. And that's it. We've gone through the spec and completed our scope of works. So based on all of this information now, we are able to, the other thing is just uninterruptible power supplies. So there was no mention of uninterruptible power supplies for the CCTV equipment, so we're just going to have an exclusion for it, and because there is an interface with the CCTV, we'll get rid of that. So let's double check this now. So despite installation of electronic security requirements, it's just a standard statement. The tender issue, electrical services drawings, that's the date that you had, project number that you inputted, all the drawings that are relevant to us. So not just the drawing we're going to take off on, but all the drawings that are relevant to us. Just close that bracket just to make it tidy for the above project. So specification based on the date you've added in the range integrity, we took that from the scope. So software and licenses, because we're excluding the security PC or workstation. Probably good to make a note down here. No allowance has been made for security PC/workstation. So software and licenses, the main controller, door controller, card readers, electronic locks, Rex buttons, emergency brake glass units, auto interfaces, read switches. So all the items we've got on the takeoff is what we've included here. All required cabling, programming, testing, and commissioning. So that's standard. The hardware milestone CCTV recording and monitoring system. So, we showed you where we got that information from. The Dell CCTV server, including hard disk drive capacity for 60 days playback history. Milestone X Protect Core for software and licenses. Cisco PoE network switches, hardwire 1080p IP CCTV cameras, the 24-inch monitor, the integration with the integrity access control system, and all the required cabling, programming, testing, and commissioning. Cat 6A data cable has been used for all security data cable runs. There's no intercom, so we can get rid of that. No allowances to be made for optic fibre. We have no reason to go optic fibre, so the optic fibre is only required when the cable runs go over 90 metres, so we don't have any of those runs, so we're going to run it all in Cat 6A. No allowance for the security PC, no allowance for the equipment racks, and no allowance for the uninterruptible power supplies. So that is a completed scope of works. Pop that on my desktop. I'll send that across to you so you've got it. Once you've completed it, we copy that, and that goes in here. And that is how we start to piece together our quote, our tender. So that's going to then populate onto onto our quote. So that is really where I need you to bring the quotes to for the moment. So we start off by finding the opportunity. We get all the documentation. We create a lead. We then go into our takeoff. We complete our takeoff. We send it across to SimPro, and then over in SimPro, we convert it to. We've obviously converted it to a quote. We complete our scope of works to make sure we've got all the information we need, and then we drop that scope of works into our info tab, and that's starting to piece together the actual quote itself. And this is where I'm going to build the quote from using these cost centers, and I'll run through another video of how I do that and where I'm going to take that information from.